Welcome to the third floor basement of Castle Oblivion. Now that you've gone through all the Disney worlds, just like Sora, Riku is going to be getting cards at the beginning of each world, which will allow him to enter the next world, and you will no longer be able to pick what world theme you're going to have for these stages. This one is going to be Destiny Island. Now, just like Sora, your enemies here are going to be fairly tough, and to make matters worse, your deck is not going to be that great. It's mainly a dueling deck. Even martial walking will not allow you to do the Dark Aura move that will destroy enemies. Fortunately, you got that Lexaeus card from our last battle, and his finishing blows that you can do while that card is activated pretty much destroys any enemy. So it's a worthwhile card to activate during this stage. Now, in this remix, you are allowed to keep Mickey with you during these stages. He'll fall off and Riku will be able to grab him. In the original Game Boy Advance version, Mickey, for whatever reason, decided to go on hiatus. So at least you're able to get King Mickey and are able to heal, because you're going to need them. Again, the best way to get rid of enemies is try to either duel them or to use Lexaeus. After a cutscene, you will be thrown into a battle with Darkseid. This is pretty much the same guy you fought in the original Kingdom Hearts, and just like Sora earlier in his mode, he's pretty easy. When he slams down his fist, that's when you attack it. For the most part, just break him the rest of the time with your cards when he decides to fire off projectiles. It's good to transform into Dark Riku in this one. However, you don't have to be using slights. If you're Dark Riku, your regular slash's attack power just increases a whole lot, and that's all you really need to finish this guy. Once you're Dark Riku, you can just slash either at his arms when they're down, or jump up and slash at him when his arms are up, and you'll still do good damage. If you do decide to duel him or take the opportunity when it presents itself, I should tell you, Dark Barrage is not exactly the most effective attack that you can do on this guy. Dark Barrage kind of wants your enemy to be below you when it attacks, and since his arms are always up, it seems to do less damage against him. It still works, it's just not as effective as a regular slash in my opinion. When you beat him, you will be getting the Darkseid card. What does Darkseid do? Well, he basically copies your enemy's abilities, which at this point in Riku's mode, it's now useless. There's only 2 more bosses. I don't think Dark Riku, which is your next boss, uses anything that will really be useful to copy, and then Ansem's special ability is also equally worthless. So, again, this card would be really great early on, but right now it's worthless. Anyways, after the boss battle is over, you'll be teleported to a room. There's a door where you can exit and grind, and then there's going to be Sora in the corner. Don't talk to Sora until after you've at least saved. If you want to leave and grind before you talk to him, it's not necessarily a bad idea if you think you're under level. Our next boss is fairly tough. Once you talk to Sora, a long cutscene plays. Riku will finally learn exactly what's the darkness that has been troubling him for, where it actually comes from, and decides what he's going to do with it, and then another boss battle happens. Now, this is a new boss fight added into RE Chain of Memories. In the GBA version, Riku just slashed this fool and he ran away. Here you're going to actually have to fight him, and he's actually a really tough boss. The best way to describe this guy would be Weevil Underwood from the Yu-Gi-Oh series. Don't expect a fair or straightforward fight from him. You are constantly Dark Riku in this one, so you can always use slights, although I usually don't, either because I forget or, hey, you can't Dark Aura, so unless you're good at Dark Break, there's really no good point. Anyways, his favorite move is to throw out little light balls that will snatch your cards. His one slight that he can use first on is summoning a tornado, which sucks a bunch of your cards away. Once Zexion manages to steal enough of your cards, he'll split into clones and start attacking you with even more powerful slights and attacks. And since your deck is now empty, they're hard to defend against. So what do? Well, you see those books that are now in the corner? You gotta destroy them as quickly as you can. Once they're destroyed, you'll be playing 52 card pickup with your cards again. However, his clones will now be disappearing and he'll be going back to phase 1 tricks where he tries to steal your card deck again. Now, here's something he does that's kind of tricky. You notice that Soul Eater is a different color now? Well, that's because that's not one of mine. That's one of his. And if I activate it, he gets a free attack on me. So watch the color of your cards, especially your 0 cards, because he might slip in a few surprises. The little cheater. Once he's in the clone mode, I need to warn you, his slights are very powerful. One of them lets him pick you up and drain your health away. Another one will have the clones kind of circling around the battlefield firing beams at you. And if you happen to be in the middle of them, you will die. This guy took a few times for me to beat even this time, so he's probably the toughest boss you'll fight in Riku's mode. After you defeat him, you'll get his card, the Zexion card, which allows you to do Confuse Strike. Hitting enemies will now confuse them. It's not as good as Lexaeus in my opinion, but it's a fun card to use. After you're done with Zexion, just make your way over to the Conqueror's Respite on the east side of the map and leave. Afterwards, we're going to go to Twilight Town.